Hylian here, and today I wanted to go over my recent playthrough of Breath of the Wild. So going into this year, I was wondering if I wanted to even replay Breath of the Wild, given Tears of the Kingdom is reusing the same general overworld and stuff like that. But I decided probably after the February Direct that it'd be a good idea to hop back in, just because I wanted to relive that experience, and everything I've seen so far about Tears of the Kingdom is it's going to blow Breath of the Wild out of the water. So I should preface this by saying that before I went into this playthrough, I've done one absolutely complete playthrough right when the game came out. I did the Champion's Ballad and stuff like that when that DLC came out. But outside of that, I would consistently hop in, restart a file, maybe do a Divine Beast or two, maybe play like 15-20 hours. And I've probably done that like 4 or 5 times. But this was my first actual time just going straight in, knowing that I'm not going to drop it until the game is actually complete. So I won't lie, I'm still not there yet. I've been playing for a little over a month now, and I've gotten around 60 hours in. I've got over 100 shrines, a few hundred Korok seeds. I'm not going for 100%, but just I found them as alongside my exploration. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of go through, not the legacy per se, but like some of the big things that stuck out to me in this playthrough, and just kind of reminisce about the game as we somewhat say goodbye to it as we move on to the new era of Zelda with Tears of the Kingdom. So, I have not fully completed the story. Like I said with the shrines and stuff, I've gotten a fair bit of the way through. I've done all the Divine Beasts. I have not started the Champion's Ballad DLC yet, and I've only done one of the Trial of the Sword sections. I'm nearing the end of the shrines, so I wanted to wait until I got through those to start the Champion's Ballad, but I'm starting to kind of realize that I can start the Champion's Ballad and just kind of pick off the last few shrines as we go. But oh my gosh, I was worried about going into this game just because of the world design. I was thinking there's a good chance that if I put 40, 50, 60 plus hours into this game 2 months before Tears of the Kingdom comes out, I'm not going to be excited to go into this world again. But I cannot express how far from the truth that is. Replaying this game, just seeing all the cool little aspects and stuff like that have gone into the care and love of this world, and even seeing the trailers and gameplay that we've gotten since I've started playing it, of Tears of the Kingdom, just seeing how many differences there are in this world compared to Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I definitely understand the hesitation, because I know a lot of people were having the same thought process me, and just went, I'm not going to replay Breath of the Wild, there's no point, it's the same world. And I get that, but going into Tears of the Kingdom versus Breath of the Wild, they're going to be vastly different games, vastly different stories. I mean, yeah, the structure of the world is different, but we have the sky segments, it looks like we have some underground segments as well. There's going to be a lot different, and I think reintroducing myself to this world is just making me excited to go back into Tears of the Kingdom just to see everything that has changed, see if any characters are still around, see how they've grown. But yeah, that was my main worry going into the game. Happy it was wrong. This is a hot topic, because I know people don't like the weapon durability system in the game. I've always been leaning on the side that I am actually a fan of it, and I do want it to stick around. But I won't lie, I do think there's a lot that needs to be changed. And thankfully it looks like with the fusing system in Tears of the Kingdom, that is going to happen. Because I think if they didn't do that, I think going into the game, before we knew about all the fusing mechanics and stuff like that, we were hoping to see either a blacksmith system or just an overhaul to how much durability each weapon receives. Because, I mean, you get a really strong weapon, you maybe get into 2 or 3 fights with it, it's gone. There's no way of what am I trying to say here? Restart the durability unless you go onto Death Mountain and throw it into one of the enemies. For some reason they're blanking. Their names are blanking me, so. But yeah, I mean, thankfully it looks like we're getting a good change. I don't know if there's a blacksmith in Tears of the Kingdom that you can reforge your weapon without having to fuse it. Right now, I'm leaning towards no, unfortunately, but that's fine. After I played my initial playthrough, like Breath of the Wild, I was always kind of disappointed with the Divine Beasts. They kind of just linger. They're just, you go to 5 different sections on the map, and you go to the final boss. You move the dungeon on the pause screen a few times, and that's about it. They felt very shallow to me. I'm hoping Tears of the Kingdom fixes that and gives us some proper dungeons. That is still remain to be seen. However, honestly, going back to them, I was not as disappointed as I initially was. They still are very shallow. They still are very generic. I do think the Rito and the Zora Divine Beasts are quite boring. Like, I timed myself in each one, and I think both of those took me 15 minutes, 20 minutes max to get through. But the Goron and the Gerudo Divine Beasts are actually pretty unique. The Gerudo more than the Goron. So, I mean, those took me a little bit, especially the Gerudo one. I actually had to think, use my brain for once. Because, I mean, I've been going back and forth into this game for the past, basically 6 years at this point. I have a good memory of most of the Divine Beasts. I have a good memory of the shrines. That one still caught me off guard when I went into it, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Moving on from that, I think talk about the story for a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it because it's been out so long. Everyone who cares about, like, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom probably knows what happened in Breath of the Wild. I've never been a really huge fan of the story. Like, the cutscenes are great. The actual premise of the story is fantastic, I think. I just have never been a fan of the storytelling style of, oh, everything that has happened is in the past, so you really have nothing just besides wandering around and, like, talking to the people in present-day Hyrule. I mean, I don't think it would have been extremely feasible, but I think this would have been alleviated a little bit if, like, the cutscenes in the past were somehow playable. I don't know how they do that, but I think that would have been a fun alternative. But what we have is a cool story with Link just going around finding these memories around the world, which they are a ton of fun to find, don't get me wrong. But I will admit, it feels like backseat storytelling more than anything, and for a Zelda game, especially coming off of Skyward Sword, which I think most Zelda fans will admit, even if they don't like the gameplay, that it's one of the best storytelling games in the Zelda franchise. So coming off of that and going into this, albeit much more sandbox-style Zelda game, to kind of put the story in the backseat and kind of ignore it for most of the game. I mean, it's fine, as long as I think Tears of the Kingdom fixes it. Because I get it, this is an entirely new system. They completely changed the Zelda format, the style. They can't get everything right the first time. So, I mean, I may come back to this and talk about it again after I finish my review of Tears of the Kingdom, and maybe compare the stories. Because, I mean, right now, from what we've seen in the trailers, it looks like it's a lot more story-focused in Tears of the Kingdom, but I still have a little bit of tepidness just because of what Tears of the Kingdom gave us. I don't know how they're going to tell a really intriguing story in the present if they want to maintain that sandbox, like, very open-ended style story. So I'm really interested to see where they go with it. Yeah, I mean, I still am trying to finish it before the game comes out next week. I still have 15 or so shrines, the Champion's Ballad stuff, and then I still have yet to go to Hyrule Castle and defeat Ganondorf. Well, Ganon. But, I mean, I have had such a good time with it. Sure, I could have been devoting this to other games. I've got a backlog a mile long. I still haven't touched most of Nintendo's output for this year, but I don't know. Looking back on the last 5-6 years of Breath of the Wild, it's hard not to get a little sentimental just knowing that Tears of the Kingdom's going to come out and it's not going to be the most relevant Zelda anymore. Maybe this is, I think, the longest gap between new installments of the series, especially 3D ones, and I don't know, I'm anxious to see what Tears of the Kingdom gives us. I am excited to see the legacy that Breath of the Wild has going forward, because I mean, even to this day, people are finding new tricks and stuff for Breath of the Wild, and I really hope to see that again in Tears of the Kingdom. But we're less than 2 weeks out. Spoilers are starting to plague the internet for Tears of the Kingdom, so if you're not trying to look for those, I hope you avoid them. And yeah, this is gonna wrap up my video talking about Breath of the Wild. It's an amazing experience that even if there's not really any time for you to hop back into it now, maybe just hop back in for a couple hours, experiment with it. But I'll admit, now that we're super close, I'd probably just wait for Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, alright. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble for basically 11 minutes. You can look forward to my Tears of the Kingdom review probably towards the end of the month, because once this game comes out, I am not putting it down for at least a few days, and I'm sure I'll be done with the game pretty darn quickly. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.